I am in three pieces, lying in the gutter of a street I've lived on for 40 years. Long before the pavement, I was a slow, rhythmic pulse in the earth. I drank the rain that now rots me. Then the saws came, and the silence of the forest was replaced by the scream of high-speed steel. The machines stripped my skin and carved a rigid geometry into my bones. They turned a wild thing into a series of right angles. They gave me 4 legs and a flat surface. With that shape came a singular driving instinct. I was built to hold someone. My only reason for being was to take the weight off a human's feet. I spent weeks in a cardboard box, vibrating in the back of a truck, wondering whose life I was destined to support. Every cut and every nail driven into my spine had a purpose. I accepted the trauma of my making because it was the price of being useful. A man with calloused hands pulled me from the box and placed me at the head of an oak table. I fit the room perfectly. I learned the family by how they sat. The father's heavy, decisive drop at the end of a shift. The youngest daughter's restless, rhythmic kicking against my front rungs. To me, that kinetic energy was the only conversation I needed. I held them through Sunday dinners, through the shouting of late-night arguments, and the quiet, heavy stillness of a house in mourning. I absorbed the vibrations of their lives into my grain. I was the anchor of the room. When the family gathered, I was the one thing they didn't have to think about. I was the reliable constant. During those years, I didn't exist apart from them. I was simply the extension of their comfort, and that was enough. Time is a slow erosion. The daughter grew up and stopped kicking my rungs, and the joint in my front left leg finally splintered under the weight of 3 decades. They didn't reach for a toolkit. They reached for a piece of cardboard to shove under my foot, then draped a heavy cloth over my back to hide the places where my finish had worn thin. My world shrank. I was pushed from the center of the room to a dark hallway, becoming a shelf for discarded coats. Eventually, I was carried downstairs. The basement was a graveyard of unwanted things. I sat under plastic for 12 years. I could hear new chairs scraping across the floor above me, sleek, modern things that hadn't earned their scars. They were doing the job I was still perfectly capable of performing. The basement was where I learned that a body can stay strong while its purpose withers away. The wood didn't rot in the dark, but the reason for my existence did. The house was sold and I was carried out to the curb. For the first time in a generation, the sun hit my wood, but only for a moment. When the truck came, I was tossed onto the pile. My spine hit the concrete and snapped. The bond I had with that family for 40 years was severed in a single second. My life ended long before I hit the pavement. It ended when the family stopped looking at me as a support and started seeing me as a clutter. Humans build things of oak and iron to last a century, yet they offer those same objects a loyalty that lasts only a few seasons. We are built for physical weight, yet we spend our lives absorbing the weight of things that have no mass, the exhaustion of a father, the secrets of children, the quiet grief of a widow. We outlast the memories we were built to support. Look around your own room. There are things there, and perhaps people, that have held you up so consistently that they have become invisible. They are the foundations you only notice when they're gone. Value is easy to see in the new and the shining. It is much harder to recognize in the silence of the things that have already carried you exactly where you needed to go.